store location and setup. Today on I Love Those Figures, we're talking about our series in how to build a pop culture business. Yesterday, we talked about sourcing your inventory, and then we started off with finding your niche. Those are all very important things. If you haven't had a chance, go back and listen to those too. We'll jump right into today's topic, store location and setup. You want a brick and mortar? Perfect. Do you have the money for it? I'm not just talking about the money to buy your product. I'm talking about the budget it's going to be for your brick and mortar. You're going to be paying for your bills. You got to pay rent. You have to pay insurance. You have to pay any kind of bills like your electric. Gotta have the money to make the payments for the customers when they come in and buy your product. You gotta have power to have AC, to have heat, to be able to have a controlled climate for your product, and to make customers happy. Trust me, no power means no selly. Also, that means you don't have any climate control, so your customers are going to complain whether they're being too hot or too cold. And then you're also going to have the issue of if your collectibles need to be in a controlled environment, if it gets too hot, it might mess up your product. Things to think about. Also, is there good parking in the area that you're wanting to get when you pay your rent? You have to really think about the location. Because location is key, guys. Because if you set up in the middle of nowhere, you might have a hard time getting someone to come out to your store. If you set up in a downtown kind of situation, I think it might be a good location. But looking around for your location, you want to make sure it's a good place, that there's a lot of traffic going through, and then being able to promote it online is good as well. Are you wanting to sell online? Okay, then you got to do your market research. You got to check out eBay. You got to check out Mercury. Yes, eBay, Mercury, Poshmark, depending on what you're selling, you're probably going to want to really dive deep into what platform you're going to use, because there's pros and cons to each. Let's talk about the pros and cons for each of these items. So, brick and mortar. The pros are you get to have a actual physical building where shoppers can come in and see it tangible, and you'd be able to engage with people face to face, have that interaction with people, build connections, build relationships with people. There's your pro. Your con is you have big overhead. You got your storefront. You have to pay for your rent, for your bills. You have to pay your rent. You got to pay all the utilities that comes with that. You have to pay for the insurance for your product. And so if you don't have capital like that, that's definitely a huge con versus the pros. To whereas you sell on eBay, Mercury, Poshmark, those platforms have different options. Being an online reseller, you don't have to pay for all that overhead unless you need to figure out how to store your stuff if you don't have room in your house. So you have to pay for storage. That's a negative. But if you have room in your house to store it in your house, that's perfect. Make a little nook in your house, storage place somewhere, your garage, whatever. That could be your storage area. Your pros, you don't have the capital to where you don't have to worry about overhead. You're already paying rent on your house. You already have things insured in your house, or your renter's fees or whatever. There's not any seller fees on eBay outside of the transaction. When you make the transaction on eBay, then they get your percentages. However, if you wanted to pay for a eBay storefront That is a subscription that costs a little bit more, but that's a great forum because you don't have to worry about the whole gotta pay for the overhead and all that. You have just your monthly fee of your subscription. Subscription fee is cool because it gives you discounts on shipping, which is rad. And then it also gets it to where you can attach a .com to it. So that's also a front, as a plus. You can promote it on your social media. And then Markery and Poshmark, I don't have enough knowledge about those platforms. But what I do know is there's seller fees on those as well that you have to pay when you make a sale. But it's cheaper than the hit you'd have to get on paying your rent at a building and having all the other overhead. Now, I'm not trying to tell you guys don't do brick and mortar. I love brick and mortar stores. I love being able to walk in to tangibly buy something. I'm just giving you guys an overhead idea of what should you do in the scenario. You might even do both. I think a lot of people that have brick and mortar also sells online. I think in this day and age, you've got to do that. Because if you have a brick and mortar and you're trying to make that income and you don't have enough traffic coming in, you're going to want to move those big ticket items on eBay or whatever platform that's trending for your niche. So I think that's what you'd have to do. You'd really do both. But definitely do your research. My personal thoughts, experience that I've had, unless you have a lot of money put back, I would start selling online first. Just my 2 cents. Start online, make those sales, put that money back, have the money ready to go if you want a brick and mortar, because you're going to have to pay your probably first and last month's rent, and then you have to have security, insurance, all that stuff on the brick and mortar. Then you've got to find the time. If you're able to open a brick and mortar, if you can't take away from your own personal job that you work, you're going to have to hire someone either by commission or by hour or by product in exchange for services rendered. You're going to have to figure out how you're going to make this whole brick and mortar happen. Like I said, I'm not against brick and mortar. I love brick and mortar. But if you're starting out and don't have enough money, you've got to be smart when making your business. You've got to make it happen. You've got to go in, start small, be able to get your business flow going to where you can have the capital to go more. Or find a business partner. Maybe someone else does have the money. Start up that brick and mortar and rock and roll it, man. Because businesses, like pop culture businesses, they make the world go round. They make it to where I can go into a store and buy a loose figure or any other collectible I want. I'd much rather buy it in person than go online. Support a local business. Pay a little bit more to support that local business than go and buy it online and have to wait a couple of weeks and hope to God it doesn't get broken. But that's another topic for another day. If you're getting good information, comment below. Also, hit that subscribe button because it makes the world go round, people. I hope you're getting quality information from this series, How to Start a Pop Culture Business. I hope you tune in to next episode with talking about building relationships with suppliers. This is Vo. Like, subscribe, make the world go round. Peace.